Welcome everybody to the Hot Take. I'm here with Logsdon from Columbus. How's it going, Hell?
It's going all right. How are you?
I'm great. If you don't know her yet, Hell, or her real name Heather, comes out of Columbus. She's been representing ever since Bumble Bash 1. Is it right?
A little bit before that, I went to the Kansas City tournament. That was my first traveling tournament,
Oh
right
wow.
before
How did you
Bumble
guys
Bash.
How did you guys do out at Kansas City?
Oh, terrible. So bad. I think we only won against the staff. That was the only team we won against.
Oh well,
Yeah.
everybody
Well, I
has to
mean,
start somewhere.
yeah. I mean, we went in, thinking this is gonna be awesome, and then we like wrecked the night before. But you're not registering that everyone's already wasted when you're there. So we're thinking like our confidence is really high. We're going to do really, really well, and then we went, and that was not the case at all.
Yeah. Well, you guys did have a really kick-ass intro video for Bumble Bash 1. I think that was Zach who put that one together, or
No, he wasn't around then. That
oh,
it was another guy that did video editing and stuff for Blake for his construction company.
oh, cool. Well,
Mm-hmm.
that always left an impression. I was really excited to finally meet all of you down the road. Um, but let's get into who you are. What do you do on your day to day, and where you're from?
Oh, well, I'm a server slash bartender day to day, and then play video games in my off time. And that's about it.
Yeah. So, but you do work at a kind of interesting place. I think you called it Dirty Frank's Hot Dog Palace.
Yeah, it's called technically a gourmet hot dog place, but I
Oh.
don't know if that's technically what it should be, but it's fine. It's
Um,
wacky hot dogs, toppings you would never think would be on a hot dog. It's pretty good.
do you have a hot take on the Chicago style hot dogs? Is that your thing, or?
I'm usually not a relish person, but
All
Red
right.
Hot Ranch Chicago dogs are actually really, really good.
All right. Well, there it is. I'm sure the Chicago people will love it and welcome you even more warmly. So you did mention other games. What other games are you into? Go on.
Uh, I would say The Witcher is probably my number one game that I fell in love with, whole
Hmm.
series. Then Fallout and Mass Effect for sure. I'm really into story games, but in the last year or so, I've been getting more into competitive gaming and things like that. Like Overwatch is a big thing right now with me. I'm playing it like almost every day.
What are your mains for Overwatch?
Oh, I have one picked in like every single class, so I don't get shut out from only knowing one character. So
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
play Diva, Orsa, um, Mora, Mercy, McCree, Reaper. I can pretty much play all of them. Not necessarily all good, but
I mean, as you may know, I
enough to be able to,
I am a
you
bit of a
know,
Winston fan.
yeah.
Do you ever give the big monkey some love?
And random heroes, yeah. He's actually really hard to play. He's just not my style of character. He's like I die really quickly with him. I don't have his timing of his like a jump and shield yet.
Oh yeah, he's a little wonky, but you'll get used to him. Um, so how does the Killer Queen community compare to these other games? I don't know if you meet in person with these other communities as much, but do you have any thoughts on like
Um,
the disparities?
I don't meet in person with any of these other games, nor do I play in competitive,
Hmm.
just because the few times I have it, it's very you're a female, you should play a support character, and or they just don't take you seriously or just mock you the entire time. So I kind of tend to stay away with it or just play with my friends.
Hmm.
But Killer Queen is total opposite of that for the most part. I mean, you're going to have your bad apples. That's just the way the world works. It's never going to be 100% positive all the time. But as a whole, Killer Queen is just so welcoming, and I've never felt so loved playing a video game before. And like, I just get so excited to just travel all these different cities to just meet all my friends every few months. That it's just really, really fun.
Yeah, I'm glad it's been a positive experience for you for the most part. Um, I know Columbus has focused a bit more on their femmes with their own fem nights. Have you
Hmm.
been participating in those? I'm sure you've done some to help, set some up and.
I've only been able to show up after every Lisa's the one running everything, and she had been trying to work out with me versus my work schedule,
Mhm.
but every single time we would have it set up to where I wouldn't have to work, I would end up having to cover a shift or something. So I actually even have I think we've done three now, and I haven't been to a single one.
Oh, okay.
Um, The first one was very there. She had quite a few people there. We actually got a few CQ members from that particular one. Lately, it's been dwindling a little bit. I think it's just snow and winter. I think once summer rolls around, once classes are over, because a lot of KQ people are still in college and stuff,
Yeah.
it'll hopefully turn around.
Yeah. So I know this isn't the only thing Columbus is really focusing on. You've all got new league nights, as I hear it, at Arcade Super Awesome.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I've seen some of the spreadsheets coming out of that. How's that been for you?
I unluckily can't participate.
Jeez.
I can't participate in anything. I work on Wednesdays, so and that's the way it's been since the beginning of Killer Queen for me anyway.
Yeah.
I would always show up after even like the very first season of League that Craig and Blake and Carlos and Matt were a part of. I would just show up after work around 10 o'clock and then I get to play and like free play afterwards. Yeah, this time around they were trying to like make it work so I could come and play, but everyone voted that they would prefer to have it earlier in the evening so then they could just do free play all night, which is fine. That's totally fine with me. But I mean, it went really well. Everyone seemed to have fun. We had a few new people that I didn't even recognize on the roster, which was really cool.
Yeah.
We had a couple of Sensi people come up for 1 week. And then Lisa and I think Blake is stepping back this time, and Lisa and Adam and a few other people are taking it over for season 2. So we'll see how that goes.
Hype. Yeah. Before we get too deep into the Killer Queen stuff, do you have any, favorite music or other hobbies that you really get into? Just something to tell us about Hell outside of Killer Queen.
Music's like not my big go-to. I mean, I love music, I do, but mostly in my free time I've been doing a lot of cross stitching. I don't know if you saw my Hell patch that I made, and I wore it to.
Yeah.
Did I have it for 23? I don't know. I had it in Charlotte for sure.
I mean, full disclosure, I did my share of cross stitching as a kid. That was just a
It's really
random skill I
fun.
picked up. Yeah, no, it's really cool. There's like a few like hanging up on like walls in my bedroom at home. It's
Hmm.
cool to just be able to sit down and put something into fabric like that.
Oh yeah, it's therapeutic for sure. And then you're also like stabbing something like over and over and over again. So it's another way to get frustration out if you
Cathartic
want to.
too. Yeah.
For
Um,
sure.
cool. All right, so let's dive into it. Berries have been making a big comeback, and I know you've had a lot to say about berries, but particularly on one map. And so Bobby
Mhm.
Bowl is asking, how much do you hate dayberries?
Quite a bit. I'm warming up to them again because when I first started playing Killer Queen, dayberries were a thing then.
Yeah.
And I just saw the infographic earlier today of like the berries versus snail on each map, which I thought was really cool actually. So it was interesting to see that like slight comeback in the past few months of the
Hmm.
berries versus the snail. But I mean, for me, day is very structured and it's been a 2 meta for so long that I'm so reluctant to change it. Um, and I feel like dusk and night are more free flow and less boxed in. So I'm more open to berries on those maps.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like, I don't know. It's I'm a very straightforward person. And for me, day is very straight, snail. There's nothing else you can do about it. Unless you put a drone tunnel, maybe if you put a drone tunnel between the hives, maybe that could like make some interesting things happen. But
Yeah.
until then, I don't know if like the ledge really helped too much. I think it did a little bit, but I think it's just becoming an issue now because there's so many new people who have never had to experience berries on day. So that's why they're making comebacks because no one really knows how to ledge.
Yeah.
And I'm also one of those people where I'm having to relearn. I'm having to relearn how to do it because I haven't had to do it in so long. Especially when I play with our first group of 5 before we got everyone else playing into Killer Queen and stuff. Blake just picked up ledging so quickly, and so we're just like, okay, Blake, you're the best at it, so why don't you go do it?
Yeah.
But I'm trying to be better so I can have it in my pocket. It's always good to have like oh, they'll think that you can't ledge, and then you're like, oh, psych, yeah, I can.
Got him. Yeah, I've made that mistake before with players misjudging their ledging capability. So having that in your back pocket, super strong. Another thing that I've heard that you hate would be the wonderful pickles. Yeah, this has been a bit of a forced meme at this point, with a whole group dedicated to it. But do you want to give us your thoughts on pickles as a food, or?
Thanks, Lisa. I love you. Um, there's two ways I want you to pickle on a hamburger from McDonald's, or there's this one restaurant near my place of work. It's like a chicken sandwich,
Hmm.
and I don't know what type of pickle they use, and it's just one single pickle, and that's fine. But
Interesting.
other than that, they're just, I don't know, I just don't like them. So Craig just eats all of them. It's fine. I
Okay.
just give him all my pickles, or
All right.
Lisa, I give her my pickles too.
So then, we've been faced with a dilemma. If you had to choose between running dayberries for the rest of your life, or between eating a pickle every day for the rest of your life, it doesn't sound like this is a hard choice for you.
No, not at all. Obviously, day varies because I still have dusk and night where I can run snail if I want to. So,
So what if I make it so you can only run berries on any map? What if you're confined to berries
hmm.
indefinitely?
Well, that's the only way I can ever play the game, though. I can't do warrior at all.
I mean, you can do. I think you can do warrior. You can facilitate berries, but I don't think your team
Okay,
can
if I
ever
can
run.
warrior, I would do that
Okay.
because I mean that's eating a pickle. I'm like no, I have to actually like taste it. And,
You don't think you'd
it's like
acquire the taste for pickles?
no, I don't think so. It's like tomatoes. I hate tomatoes too. I try so hard. I will get it with it on the sandwich. I'll take one bite and then pick it off every time.
Yeah, I can respect that. I've had to come around to a few things. I'm not a fan of pickled carrots actually on banh mi. That's
Uh,
just I can't do that.
mm.
That's not my jam. So what brought you to Killer Queen? Was it just a fateful night at Arcade Super Awesome, or a friend of a friend?
Craig and I had been we moved to the neighborhood and we had been going to Yellow Brick for a while. And then one day we were walking by and saw a flyer on the door about the arcade being set up and built and everything. And
Hmm.
I think I was at work or something. I can't remember. It's been a while. He ended up going up there one night and finding the game and just fell in love with it. Came home and told me, "Oh, you got to play this game. It's so cool. I've never seen anything like it," and all this stuff. And he was like, "They have a league, and I'm gonna play in it." And so then he uh, wanted a queen, and so he found people to play our old roommate Matt, and then Blake was on a whole separate team. I mean, you learned all about this in his hot take, but
Hmm.
so I was only able to come after league, and then I showed up the first night and just started going ever since. Can't stop.
Well, hey, that's the way to do it. So coming up? I mean, you've proven yourself as a speed warrior, among other things, but I think everyone kind of knew you as a speed. Uh, were there individuals that you looked to inform your play, or did you really just kind of build your own style from scratch?
Well, the funny thing is I originally was the objective runner on our team.
Hmm.
Um, and it was at 20 where all the guys were just like, "Hey, let's try something like random and just see if it works." And so they're like, "Heather, do you want to try being speed warrior?" And I was like, "Okay, I'll try it, I guess." And then it just like, bam! It just like it just fit like a glove. I had never even like really experimented with it before.
Yeah.
And then yeah, it was just. But now I'm like new build kind of zonked me out of it a little bit because
Hmm.
my tap is double tap, so it's a little bit I'm tapping too much.
Right.
So I'm having to kind of like relearn a tapping. So vanilla makes it a lot easier. And so I've kind of gravitated towards that a little bit more recently than
Yeah.
Speed Warrior.
Yeah, I noticed that at I think Charlotte, you started shifting roles. I mean, your team had a lot of good speed warriors, so it was easy for everyone to start moving around.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us about the decisions your team made, and why you did what you did in Charlotte?
Well, I think we prioritized Austin and Jason as speed, and then the original setup was Dre being objective and me being vanilla,
Yeah.
and then I would be secondary speed on whatever map. It's been a while; I can't even remember.
Hmm.
And so eventually, I just was just dying too much as a speed warrior, so I was like, I'm just gonna stay vanilla because it just makes me safer. Because sometimes you get in that greedy moment, you get that one kill and you try to force it because you're like, I can jump so far,
Yeah.
and then you get bopped, and then you get bopped again, and you get bopped again. And so I think playing vanilla has uh, reined me back a little bit and not being as aggressive. Plus, I love guarding snail. It's
Yeah.
so fun.
Oh, kindred
That's probably my
spirits.
favorite. That's probably my favorite position is the guard snail. I love it.
Yeah. Well, hopefully I get to fight you with the snail someday. We can duke it out. Um,
Yeah, let's set this up.
it seems like there's a huge trend in everybody going speed. Do you think the vanilla warrior is on the way out, or do you think there's still a good place for vanilla warriors in the game?
Oh, the game's always gonna need vanilla warriors. They're the placeholder, you know. They hold space really well. They have to, as long as they're sitting there, they can make that person second guess if they can go there or not. Because I
Hmm.
mean, there are people that can play vanilla like a speed warrior. You know, the mantis is everything.
Yeah.
Um, I think right now people are feeding into the meta of like, well, everyone's going speed. I might as well, you know, do it too. I just don't want people to forget that there are other positions in the game and other warrior styles, and get used to one thing and then what happens when it gets nerfed.
Right.
If it ever gets nerfed, I don't know if it will, but if it does, and then everyone's so stuck on this one style of play, are they going to be able to play any other position? That's why I'm constantly now reining myself back and trying to learn every position now so I can be able to play everything.
Yeah. So you mentioned like nerfs and changes in the future. Is there anything that you are kind of looking for from Bumblebear to make the game better, in your opinion?
Warrior checks for sure against queens. I feel like the new button tap press has made doing a J dive even harder
Hmm.
for certain people, and that slight pixel of causes a bump, like you're not getting it 100% perfect, so
Yeah.
the warrior can like check you, which is super frustrating sometimes, especially when you're like, I killed you, or I'm scraping. It just seems like there's sometimes where the queen is literally scraping across,
Yeah.
and the warrior just checks them for some reason. I don't know if that came from trying to fix helmets or what, but I feel like that is one big thing right now. Is I think it's making queens a little bit weaker and have to really, really rely on their team now. They can't like go solo unless
Yeah.
you're like, you know, super crazy. Um, and then obviously hats, but that's not going to happen. So.
I mean, at this point, I've started collecting hats. I do have a nice Dayberries hat if you'd like to have it. I might pass that
Ooh.
on. You
Okay,
just
I'll take
have to
it.
promise not to burn it. Um,
Okay,
okay, great.
I won't. I won't. I love you, so it'll be a cherished gift.
Aw. Um, I'll just have to keep wearing my toxic hat, I guess, and twinning with Nathan Palmer. Um, let's see. We got another audience question from Ryan Vile, asking you about your perspective as a scene mom. Um, yeah, if you just want to share about that experience.
I think it just really all came about just because, I mean, that's just my personality. You know, I'm always the person at the party who's least drunk and always taking care of my friends, kind of thing. And so it's just like a natural role for me to take over, even though in real life I'd never want to have children.
Yeah.
Um, but I think, yeah, I think it's just a natural role I stepped into, especially being that I was one of the first, if only female, I think. I'd give or take like a couple other women that had been playing.
Hmm.
So, you know, I had to be that like strong female, doesn't take any shit
Right.
against these toxic boys kind of thing, you know. Not that they're all toxic,
Sure.
but I'm so used to other toxic gaming that you know, I've got to put a foot down kind of thing. And plus I love everybody and I want everyone to get along. So
If you could rebrand the term scene mom to something else, what would you want to be? Like
mm,
I don't know. I don't have anything off the top of my head.
well, I don't even know. I like the term though.
You could be like scene captain, like the scene boss.
I don't know. Let's see. Scene boss would be more of like Blake's thing. I think was that his. We had nicknames on the back of our jerseys for Mobile Bash too. I
Oh
don't think
yeah.
that's what his was though.
Yours was just
No, that was Zach. Zach's was boss, which is really funny.
yours was
Yeah, I don't
hell.
know.
Yours was just hell,
Yeah,
right?
mine was just my nickname, and then Matt's was Tum Tum
Oh yeah, of course, Tum
for
Tum.
his, but mm-hmm,
Laser Los, of
mm-hmm.
course.
And
Was,
then Craig's was just his name spelled different
was it
because
with like
he doesn't really have a nickname. So
he's the guy with the beard. Um,
yeah.
so your nickname is Hell, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So I figure we'll do a PSA really quick. Your real name is Heather.
Yes.
Not Helen. It's
No.
Heather. Do you want to tell us the story behind why you're called Hell?
One of my friends from college just started calling me Healther for some reason. I really have no idea why. And then eventually just shortened. And then Craig started calling me that because they liked it. And then everyone else caught on from there. And I just embraced it. And I think I never had a nickname when I was growing up, and I always wanted one. So
There you go. I personally wanted to be called Ace, but that never caught on. So
I mean, I'll start calling you that if you want.
no, it's okay.
Nickname? Cool.
I'm Wilk now.
Oh, true, true.
That's
Wilk's a good one though.
Yeah, no, I'm happy with it. It's good enough. Another audience question. We've got Courtney from your scene, of course. What makes Columbus stand out, and what can you all do to improve?
Well, I think Columbus stands out. I think what really made us show up on everyone's radar was 20. Because before then, I think some people even admitted they were like, not necessarily talking trash, but like, oh, you know, these people keep coming out. They're not really good, blah, blah, blah. And then 20, it was just like a switch was flipped, and which was bizarre to me too, because we never really got to play against anybody else for a while until our other group of people started coming in on a consistent basis. And then I think we were able to help build them up as well and show them how to play the game. And then so they started going in with already having a reference of how to play the game, not going in blind how we did. So I think that really helped. And then you're always going to have those little sparks of people that show up out of the woodwork and just surprise the hell out of you.
Yeah.
And I think Columbus has a lot of those.
So, I mean, on that note, is there anybody that you think people need to keep their eye on, either from your scene or even elsewhere, if you're looking outward?
Do you mean of like our second group of players that people might not know?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, anybody who you think is, underranked or just underestimated.
Well, I don't know if he's necessarily underranked. A lot of people probably already know him now, but I think like the next queen to be coming out of Columbus is Mitch.
Yeah.
I don't know if many people have met him. He's traveled to a few tournaments now. He queened at Bumble Bash too. Yeah, he trained with Craig and Carlos for weeks going into Bumble Bash too. He picked the game up really, really quickly, and I think he's got an interesting style. It's kind of a mesh of Craig, Carlos, and Blake all in one person. So I think he's still trying to figure out his own little like flair. There's just so many good people in our scene. I love all of them. I mean, Lisa and I have become BFFs recently, and she's like one of the most like dedicated people, I would say, in the most recent months. She's constantly wanting to go out and play, and she just learned how to stick last week, so she's like super, super excited about it. And I think she's one of those people that just like wants to keep getting better, and we have a lot of those. So I think that's what makes Columbus special, is we have a lot of people that just want to play the game and get better.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of scenes have that, but other scenes are having trouble with growth. They'll attract new players, and then just not be able to convert them to full time or like really dedicated players. How do you feel Columbus is doing right now in that regard?
I feel like we're in that boat. We've had waves. I mean, when we first got the game at Arcade Super Awesome, they had a league of like 8+ teams. There were prizes every week. Everyone was showing up. It was super competitive, but it was very toxic. Like people hadn't been part of that gaming community before. And then it kind of league fell apart. People started pushing each other away. And then it was just like the 5 of us, give or take a few other people.
Yeah.
And so we had to work really, really hard. And friends of friends, we just started bringing, that. And then luckily 15 to 20 of them decided to stay. And now I think a lot of our KQ people go to school currently at OSU. So that puts a damper on a lot of schedules, because, I mean, it is on a Wednesday.
Right.
Close quarters has helped with that, though, for sure. I mean, because we can go there whenever we want. But, yeah, I think we're in that moment, too, where we're hitting our second wave of it being stagnant and not really bringing any new people. Plus, our bar's in, like, a little out of the way place and not many people even know it's there. So it's not really a place you're just going to like walk and stumble upon unless you live in the neighborhood.
Right. Yeah. So let's dive into KQ a bit more. You mentioned that the dusk and night maps are a bit more fluid for berries.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to just expand on that? I know as a speed warrior, you're probably looking to, clear hives or escort berries. Yeah, what are your thoughts?
Well, on night, I love the waterfalls, the vertical wrap. It just
Hmm.
makes me able to like move through the map so much easier. And I like running berries on that map because you can just fall straight through
Yeah.
and curve in. And speed is super accessible on that map. Same with dusk. Running speed berries on that's super great. They're annoying on dusk though, just because if you have that one team that's going to do, if it works out, if you catch it early, where they do the 4 top drop off the go and then settle after that, it can make it a rough go.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like running berries is a little harder on dusk,
Hmm.
especially for new players because they have to learn, you have to fill it up from top to bottom.
Right.
And then the long jump that it takes, especially if the berry pile, the last one is the one that's in the middle of the top.
Yeah.
So when I'm running berries, I try to just go ahead and grab those first, and try and convince my team to do it as well. So then we can just get those out of the way
Hmm.
and
Well,
then rely
so
on the later berries.
does that force your team into more famine situations though? Have you experienced that? Because a lot of people
We
hit
don't,
soft famine, it's very slow after that.
I'll be honest, we don't hit famine here that often.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I famine. I hate being last warrior in famine just because it's so fucking stressful.
Yeah.
I love drone bumping though, so that's fine. If I'm dead, I don't care. But yeah, we don't. I don't think many of our COS people have experienced famine, or at least intense famine, where it lasts a really long time.
Hmm.
I mean, every single time I've played Pigeon Rats, there's a famine, and
Right.
it's really fucking annoying.
Yeah.
I love them though. I love playing with them because we're like neck and neck every time. It's always 2-2, and then they always pull it out, which is great. I mean, it's a sick game, so I can't be mad about it. But
Right.
there's literally a famine every time.
Yeah, there's a
And
bit
I
of
think we've gotten one with FSU every time too. I'm not sure. I can't remember.
yeah, FSU is very famine prone, but I know there's a bit of like a rivalry with Pigeon Rats. I don't know how many tournaments it's been. I know at 20, and then was it? Did you
It
play?
was it
Yeah.
was at Winter Cluster as well. 20 was the only full Pigeon Rats team though.
Right.
The full Pigeon Rats team and the full like Columbus 5, if that's what you want to call it.
Sure. Yeah.
Um, but in Cluster, Craig and I, as everyone knows, in any big tournament we play together. So
Right.
Craig and I have played against them 3 times,
I
and
see.
it's gone 3-2 all 3 times. And there has been a famine in all 3 of them. And we were able to pull out the famine and like bring it back to where they're like beating us 2-0, and then we bring it back and win the next 2, and then we just like I don't know what happens, but they just lock it up on that last one, and then we can't squeeze it out.
I mean,
One day,
do
one
you have
day, Moose. I swear to God.
let's see it at 25 maybe. I don't know if are you headed up
Hopefully,
to
hopefully.
Coronation?
No, unfortunately. The next one for sure. I took off too many tournaments in a row. What was it? I took off in January twice, then in February and in March. So my boss wasn't going to let me. So 25 is the next one that I can go to.
All right. Well, I'm gonna have my eyes on that matchup. Hopefully, we get to see it.
I hope
Um,
so too.
is it gonna be the Columbus 5 coming back for 25?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Uh,
we're trying to settle up a second Columbus team
yeah, yeah,
to go as well. I think Mitch for sure is queening, but I don't know who else is going to be on it.
yeah. So then, is there anything you can, give us the inside scoop so we can download your team?
We're switching roles up, and I will not be primary speed warrior. So think about that.
Oh, snap. Does that mean
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna be vanilla warrior or even something more
Mm-hmm.
drastic? Okay.
No. Mm-hmm.
All right. I'll be looking for you near the snail
Okay.
then. I'm
Okay.
just
Yep.
assuming you're gonna snail guard.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully we can get me on the snail guard too, and we can duke it out.
I'm for that.
So this is even further out. Plans to go to Bumble Bash 3 yet?
I'm keeping an eye on it. It's gonna be an expensive trip, that's for sure.
Right. Yeah.
I really do want to go. I think it's all just if my finances line up with the timing of it. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's going to be out there, or at least hopefully a lot of people. Hopefully a bit smoother and not as loud as Bumble Bash 2. Um,
Hmm.
but that
I
being
mean,
said, plenty of great memories from there. Do you have any favorite Killer Queen memories that you want to just like hash out and share with us?
overall or from like Bumble Bash in particular?
Just from anything. I think, I won't limit you to Bumble Bash 2.
My favorite Killer Queen moment in tournament was KQ20.
Hmm.
I have not had as much fun as I ever did at that tournament. I don't feel like I've played as fantastic as I did at that tournament. That tournament was definitely the highlight of my KQ career, I will say, even though it was early on. Hopefully I'll have more later, but
Right, yeah.
right now I think that was when Columbus was finally noticed. We just shocked everybody with
Hmm.
how well we did. And never everyone was like, oh, now we can't sleep on them.
Right.
And so I think that was a defining moment for our scene as a whole, is with how well we did there. And so now everyone's like, oh, okay.
All right, Columbus is coming to town. Should be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I think Columbus has definitely made a name for yourselves, and then with the CQ venue on top of it, that's just
Mm-hmm.
an added bonus.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything that you think Speed Warriors out there right now aren't doing that they should be doing?
Hmm. That's tough.
Or what are the biggest
Um,
pitfalls you think?
Relying on speed too much,
Hmm.
I would say, is a big pitfall. Did you see my meme that I posted after the Minneapolis Midwest?
I don't think so.
It's like the Drake meme where he's like, and then he's
Oh,
like,
yeah,
it's a team wiped, can get up vanilla,
yeah.
getting
Oh, right.
speed.
Yeah, of course. Of
So I think it's
course.
just one of those things. Is like, don't limit yourself to one character. Speed is fun and super rewarding when you're on fire, but I feel like speed can make people extremely greedy. Um, and then they rely on it too much, and
Hmm.
then they're used to playing that one and only character, and then they can't do anything else.
So you're telling me I have to be good at doing lots of different things in this game?
Yeah, why wouldn't you want to be that way?
Do
Give
you
everybody else a turn.
do
That's
you
what I do at home.
yeah, do you feel any draw to the other roles, running objectives or even queening
I
personally?
have been queening recently.
Oh,
New builds made that possible. My arm doesn't get as tired.
yeah, yeah.
I think that's why we've seen a lot of new queens show up in all the scenes.
Hmm.
I like it. I mean, I've got a good mentor, Craig, obviously, and Carlos and Blake. I'm learning my own style. Craig gets frustrated with me though sometimes because he's very meticulous and has his certain way that he plays,
Hmm.
and he's had a lot of tournament experience. And I die some stupid way, and he like shakes his head, and I'm like, I'm still trying to learn my own finesse and everything. I mean, I really do love playing all the roles. During normal league on Wednesdays, there's a lot of times where everyone's just like, Heather, you're gonna get speed, right? And I'm like, no, I want to drone this time.
Hmm.
And our make it even guy, it happened with him, and I was like, no, Duck, you get up. He was like, no, you should. And I'm like, no, I'm running drone, don't make me have to get up. And then he didn't though. I stayed drone the whole time. I was super proud of him.
That's good.
He's also another person to look out for.
Yeah.
He's our like keep it even guy, but now he's getting more competitive, so we're
Uh,
hoping we can get him travel soon.
yeah. I mean, I do remember meeting him. He's a really nice guy, and it's
He's
nice
super
that
super nice.
he makes an effort to make the machine more balanced.
Mm-hmm.
This is a discussion actually that flared up recently on Slack, about what you do whenever the teams are really unbalanced, maybe at a league night or in a more
Mm-hmm.
casual sense, even. Is there anything Columbus does to really, besides making it even, to
Um,
balance those things?
Duck's really good about it for him, who he feels are people that are on the same level. So who is his partner and who is someone else's partner. And then if we play a match and we're like, oh no, usually we just like play it out
Hmm.
and then adjust later. But we try to like set it up before the match actually happens, see who's on the other team when everyone just walks up, and then we'll mix and match to make it even. When we play at CQ, it's more intimate because we don't have to worry about like other random people in the bar or anything like that. And we usually only have a certain amount of people. So Duck is very, all of us really is like having a partner picked, and then you both can't play on the same team because you're even level.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
So does he get involved with any kind of like, seeding tournaments or maybe making tier lists?
I don't know if he has or not. I don't know if he's doing anything with like cross pollination that we're doing with Cincinnati at all.
Yeah.
I mean, he helps like in the behind the scenes things when we run tournaments and stuff like that. Like just if anybody needs a helping hand, like moving something or signing people up for something, he's willing to help whenever he shows up.
Yeah, that's really valuable
mm-hmm.
to have players like that. I won't assume that you've gone to them since you're always busy, but have you done the cross-pollination stuff? And how have those been?
Again, I work on Saturdays, so I can't go.
Yeah.
Like I said, my life is only hot dogs and video games. So they're on Saturdays, typically early in the afternoon, and I work until 5. So
right.
Our first Columbus one ran late, but I just ran the stream and commentated the whole time, which was fine. It was really fun to watch because a lot of their scene is so young, so they're all like even like learning how to play. You have your few that have popped up like Bobby and Spencer, and then I mean I consider Nick Columbus because he's been with us for so long. So, but they still have a few new people. Like there's Victoria and Bethany, who I think are picking it up pretty quick. I mean, they're a very heavy, easy GG scene and berries. They love berries. Well, that's all. If you go watch the cross pollination in Columbus, that's all it is. It's just berries. There's like barely any snail. Oh gosh. I mean, you can listen to the commentary. It was horrible just because I was just so pissed the whole time. Like, just fucking ride the snail. She's so lonely down there. She's just sitting there.
But you're coming around to the berries, or?
Yeah, I am.
Bit by bit.
Yeah, a little bit at a time.
Well, I'm going to ask you if you have any words of wisdoms or closing remarks, just something that you really want everybody out there to know about you, the game, or the community. Just whatever's on your mind.
I want everyone to get along and love each other. And just realize this game is to have fun, and we're all friends, and not to let toxicity cloud that for anyone. If you get tilted, just walk away. There's no point in arguing. We're all there to have fun, and it's a fun game. I don't want it to get ruined by some asshole being a dick,
Yeah. I think we all want to get along and find the balance, but I guess we've got a lot of work to get there, so.
Yeah, we'll get there. For the most part, everyone's super great.
Yeah.
So I think we'll get there.
We'll get there. All right. I want to thank you so much for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Oh, of course. Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. Our first repeat scene guest, the second guest from Columbus, Hel. Thank you everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.